Hey y'all, it's your girl Lady Pelvic with Pelvic Gaming, and I've been craving to do a top 5. So I consulted Patreon and asked what they wanted to see. Created a poll, and well, here we are. As you guys know, I play a lot of JRPGs, new and old. Classic turn-based, strategic, action-adventure, side-scrolling platforming RPGs, the whole kit and caboodle. So I really had to take a step back, look at all the JRPGs I've played, and figure out what's my favorite, what stood out to me, what catered to my personal taste as a professional JRPG dicksucker. Before we start, something to be mindful of: I can only speak on games that I've played, so you're not going to hear Valkyria Profile or Final Fantasy V or whatever else may come up. That said, let's S some JRPGs. Number 5. I feel I'll always have to give credit to the basics. Turn-based, as that's the majority of JRPGs. In fact, it's pretty much assumed that it will be turn-based until you see the footage. But you know what's better than just turn-based battling? Turn-based battle in style. And there's no JRPG that oozes more style than Persona 5. Persona 5 brings it back to the basics with a new flair of all-out attacks, sneaking around and taking your enemies by surprise, and negotiating with personas. It takes a very similar approach as Pokemon, but much better, as whatever persona you have equipped, you share their strength and weaknesses, nor do you have to grind each persona. The great thing about Joker, the main character, is he uses multiple personas, kind of like the jack of all trades, master of none. Your teammates have fixed personas, thus fixed strengths and weaknesses. Another Poke-esque thing is capturing personas, in other words, them lending you their power. Back to weaknesses real quick: if you land a critical attack or hit their weaknesses, it will knock an enemy down for one turn, allowing them to take serious damage and granting you another turn. You could take that turn or use Baton Pass, allowing you to pass that character's turn onto another, assuming you've unlocked the correct social links. Also, if you knock down an enemy, or if you knock down all of your opponents, you go into hold up mode, and you could chat it up or finish with an all-out attack. If they're the last enemy standing, sometimes they'll come to you and plead for their life. Mentioned previously, social links are pretty much bonds you create with your party outside of palaces, aka dungeons. The closer you become with a person, they unlock helpful abilities in battle, like help with persona negotiations, taking a killing blow for Joker, or simply passing the baton. Persona 5 did a great job embellishing the established turn-based style. I think it's a welcoming battle system for new JRPG dicksuckers, but also revamps it up for veteran JRPG dicksuckers. Number 4. We are so used to seeing our characters get beat up. Punched, kicked, poisoned, lit aflame, eaten. We see the damage number and the HP instantly drops. But finally, one game said, no, you don't have to take this shit. You don't have to eat all 80 damage. This game implemented a nerve-wracking but ingenious spin on how damage is handled. That's right, the Mother series. Today, we're specifically talking Mother 3. Mother 3 is your standard turn-based JRPG, standard options, attack, defend, items, use a skill, etc. But something I've never seen done is active damage. When you or a teammate is hit with mortal damage, you have a chance of saving them. You can do so in 2 ways. One is heal them before their health reaches 0. Their counter will start going up, and even if they're attacked again while their health is actively on the rise, the attack will stunt the regeneration. And 2 is win the battle before they run out of hit points. This is such a clever way of creating panic, and giving the player a chance to snatch the characters from death's nasty claws. And as any JRPG dicksucker will tell you, it feels great dodging death, especially getting those clutch heals. The second reason I actually chose Mother 3 is because of sound battles. They may seem tacked on and kinda goofy, but the entire Mother series is kinda kooky. Sound battles is where you attack to the beat. If your rhythm is on point, you can do up to 16 attacks in one go. The only way to hear the beat, however, is by putting the enemy to sleep. Here it is with and without the bass. And when you put them to sleep, but eventually you'll get so good you won't even need to do that. You'll just feel the beat, baby. If your musicality isn't so high, that's no problem, as the game is completely beatable without tackling a single sound battle. Now, a big part of why I love sound battles is the music is so damn good. I'm just a sucker for JRPGs and a sick bass. Number 3! When have you ever attacked with a staff or a rod and it make a difference in battle? I could tell you when. July 13th, 2018, when Square Enix dropped Octopath Traveler, a love letter to JRPG dick-sucking fans all over. Octopath Traveler is a turn-based game where every enemy has a weakness. It heavily relies on exploiting that weakness before being able to do serious damage. And every weapon and elemental spell can be put to use to exploit those weaknesses. The first mission is to break their guard, giving the rest of your party an opening to attack. When encountering an enemy for the first time, you won't know their weakness, so you'll have to use trial and error. Next, boost points. Every turn your character gains a boost point, or BP. Using BP allows you to use a standard attack for as many times as you boost, so 3 boosts, 3 attacks, or boost the effectiveness of your unique character's skill or magic. So you could cast a level 1 offensive spell, no boost, or a level 3 offensive spell by boosting it 3 times. And note the amount of mana never changes. Support skills, temporary raising the character's stats or debuffing enemies, same thing. Boosted buffs and debuffs last longer. It was so fun strategically hoarding boost points and obliterating your enemies into nothingness. Seeing the shield number crumble along with their tiny portrait in the top center queue felt great, no matter how weak the enemy. Lastly, my favorite thing in JRPGs ever, the class system, or jobs. As you gain job experience, you can buy skills related to that job. As you collect skills, you unlock passive skills that belong to a specific job. Where it gets good is mixing and matching passive skills. So if you wanted Cyrus to be a scholar and a Doctor Strange looking sorcerer, but have the passive merchant skill that halves the MP cost, you could do that, as long as you unlock the passive merchant skill for Cyrus. And the fun thing is, the possibilities felt endless. It was awesome seeing what wonky combos you can come up with, the new strategies, exploiting character strengths in new ways. Combine that with the boost system and we have a unique, enjoyable, and versatile battle system. Number 2. Finally, we're deviating from good old turn-based to some modern action. This slot was the hardest for me to fill because this series did more or less the same core gameplay, but each has its own different spin. Tales of. And this was a challenge because most of the Tales of games that I've played have played relatively well, save for the older ones that were a little bit more clunky. These past few weeks, I've been replaying a lot of the Tales of games just to get a refresher of how their battle system works, and I find myself teetering between Tales of Graces F and Tales of Berseria. I think with Tales of Graces F being the first Tales of game I've played, it just set the standard for me. I enjoyed the fluid combat system, the arts or skills, quick stepping to evade enemy attacks. I was a hard fan of the chain capacity system, or CC, which all actions require CC to be performed. The more you have, the more combos you can string together with regular attacks and arts. I like the critical gauge, it fills when you do damage and lowers when you take damage. Guarding is more than just guarding, you actually take stances with different auras. First charge increases CC recovery, second you can't be staggered, and third guaranteed critical hit on your next attack. Most games you just guard to take less damage, and this gave you more incentive to guard and hold your guard to replenish your CC. An Elith Burst, where characters are unable to be staggered, and you can also bust out mystic arts. Alternatively, an Elith Break is when enemies can't be staggered and they can use their mystic art. It just flowed so well, and I found it so engaging. With Berseria, I just love a good risk in an action game. But it's not luck, it's absolutely based on your skill. It uses the soul system. Pretty much using arts consumes souls. They're a bit difficult to get back if you spam your good moves. If you stun, defeat an enemy, or literally pick up a soul, you get a soul. If you break soul, which varies for each character, but I'm only going to be discussing Velvet, she loses a soul and her targeted enemy gains one. But she goes into her Theronized state where she dramatically loses HP, but gains it back as she attacks. Oh, and she takes double damage, but cannot be afflicted with any ailments. The lower her health, the more damage she does, and the only way she can revert back is by using her finishing move, or until her HP drops to 1. There's a lot more that goes into this, but that's the basics of Berseria. The problem is, 1, you're overpowered as hell, which I personally didn't mind. I am a demon-eating demon after all. But 2, gaining souls could be rough, and I found myself practically soulless on more than one occasion. So it really did disrupt the flow of battle. So when I was writing the script, it kind of clicked that I prefer Tales of Graces F to Tales of Berseria, but I didn't want to scrap it since I did all this work, so I throw it in here anyways. When someone asks me my favorite JRPG with action combat, that's not just button mashing, my heart always flutters to the Tales of series. Now, before we dive into my favorite battle system of all time, here's some honorable mentions. The World Ends With You. Incredibly innovative with the Stride Cross battle system. Strictly speaking, on the DS, each character is on a different screen, a different zone if you will. The bottom screen with Neku is touchscreen, which you'll be using the stylus to draw some awesome attacks, or even yelling into the microphone, all while managing the character on the top screen. Each top screen character has a different gimmick. It's tricky at first, but one of the most unique gameplay experiences I've ever had. Nier Automata. I feel I'd mention this because it feels like an action game with JRPG elements, kinda like Bayonetta, but a bit more RPG-like, and really Platinum Games, sexy, fluid, button-mashing combat. Xenoblade Chronicles, a game about changing the future and implemented that narrative through its gameplay. The protagonist Shulk can see an incoming attack and warn one party member about it during battle. That party member can use one of their skills in hopes to change the outcome. Chrono Trigger. I love me some active time battle system, plus discovering techniques was so much fun. Really encouraged mixing your teammates up and uncovering stellar team attacks. And now, without further ado, number 1. So here we are, the final bit. This game I had stupid fun playing. Didn't particularly care for the story. The characters, a charming bunch, but the gameplay was incredible. Similar to Octopath Traveler, or should I say Octopath Traveler is similar to this game, I just adored the gameplay and their spin on turn-based combat. Bravely Default, or even Bravely Second, which really plays more like an expansion of the original, is my favorite gameplay in a JRPG of all time. There are several distinct jobs. As you play through the game, you have to defeat someone with that job class to unlock that job. So know you have that job, its abilities, and the adorable costume to boot. I swear, some of the fun is seeing what the cast looks like all dolled up. You know those cheesy dress-up games they have for young kids? Well, this is the equivalent for me, but I get special abilities and powers when I change outfits. It's my own little fashion show. And that's where the Bravely series gets me. You have your main class and then your secondary class, so it's kind of a 2-for-1. Plus, you get to mix and match abilities from all the jobs you've collected. It's just endless layers of fun customization, baby. Figuring out how to break the game, maximize every turn, and just dominate. But that's just the prep work. The actual fighting also makes for a fun time. Introducing the Brave and Default system. Each BP, or Brave point you use, allows for another action. You can have up to 4 and chain a series of moves. Be careful though. Using more BP than you actually have can leave you in the red, which means you can't do anything for X number of turns. You're open for everything and anything. Default has your character defending and gaining a BP. And that's essentially the gist of it. But what makes it amazing is seeing your class combining skills come to life and pulling off ridiculous killer combos. Plus, because this game is quite the grind with leveling up your character and job levels, Bravely Second added a nice way to multiply your experience. If you take out an enemy in one turn, you're offered another round with a higher experience multiplier. And they make it so easy to plow through enemies too, because you can essentially set macros or repeat whatever your last actions were. Tired of grinding or didn't want to overlevel, you could set the encounter rate. God, this game was so damn efficient, but too bad its story wasn't interesting. Any JRPG with a sick class system already scores points with me, but add in the element of charging up points in turns, just hits the mark. Plus the grinding efficiency this game has, I would argue should be in every JRPG. So what did you think? Do you agree with me? You like what I like, or not at all, or maybe somewhere in between? Let me know in the comments below. And another question I have for you is, what is a JRPG that you bought solely because of the gameplay? Story and graphics be damned. Games I was gifted on my birthday, which is Valkyria Chronicles, which is a 3D strategy game, and I really like Lost Dimension on the PlayStation 3, so I figured I'd give this a try and see if I could slowly ease myself into more strategic games. And also got for my birthday, Radiant Historia. I just like that you could sweep enemies into one move, so I'm excited to play that. Both of these games you can expect a review someday. I'm not giving you a date. I play what I play when I want to play them. On that note, I do have an Amazon wishlist linked in the description below of what games I want and will inevitably one day review, so if you want to help a sister out. And you've also probably noticed my sleek Pelvic gaming pin, only available for patrons, so maybe wink, wink, or why am I saying wink? Just become a patron maybe? Thank you all so much for watching. Top box is more top 5s like this, and the bottom box is my Let's Play channel. Also, consider becoming a $1 patron, just to help vote for the next top 5 topic you'd like to see. Love ya! Mwah!